Greetings fam, expensive yoga series. We're gonna just recite what we was talking about on Monday in Monday Gone session. For those that missed it, those that just want them reminders, we're talking about natural nutrients, quantum nutrients. I think we called the discussion quantum nutrients or wholesome nutrients. All right, reminders. Basically, what are we talking about? And it was pertaining to the diet. Yeah, we're really focusing on using the diet as a reinforcement of growth, self-awareness, vitality, spirituality, consciousness, mental strength, mental application. We touch on the diet, essential. It's something that we partake in every day. It's essential kind of practice. So if you get the essentials right, if you have to do something every day regardless, like breath, like hydrate, like eat, then if you can tweak those areas of your life and try and perfect them so that they are very harmonious to your growth and you are consciously active in those practices, that means you are very mindful of how you do it and the way you do it and the quality of tools that you use to do that. That is going to have outstanding impacts and effects on your reality, your experience of yourself, your experience of the world around you, your vibrationary field, your thoughts, your sleep, your health, your ailments. You're going to start witnessing you heal yourself in many different ways. So that's why it's essential to have this discussion. And we're just coming from another perspective of quantum nutrients and what we mean by the quantum, because it's been around since quantum leap at times and all these. When they talk about quantum, they're just talking about the subatomic layer of energy of you. So we've got atoms being the smallest particle, but then, science can never deny there's another active force, there's another active energetic field to you that instructs, encourages, mediates the physical atomic kind of sphere of yourself. We can call that God, we can call that spirit, we can call that light, chi, we can call that ankh, we can call that kundalini. I'd say it's all of that and more, but just depending on what school of thought you take. Quantum physicists call it, fields and whatnot, but fields can't be measured, not by mathematical design. They're not tangible like that. We can experience and we can witness fields in action, but we can't use the logical kind of Western intellectual mind to determine or define or even to explain in that sense. So anyway, so that's quantum. So why we call them quantum nutrients is because basically nutrients, when we refer to nutrients, we're just talking about a unit of energy, and more specifically a nutrient is a more specific unit of energy. So the body requires energy, the body makes energy, the body burns material to make energy. So you got this brings the fire element into man. Yeah, your body is burning, your body is breaking down using a lot of heat. Thermal regulation is essential inside of the body, and it's the hypothalamus in the temple, in the brain, that basically regulates the thermostat of the body. So we heat up when we're healing or sick, as they would have us backwards believe. When we are actually healing and going through a healing process, the body will heat up in order to burn bacteria, to burn energy, so that it can effectively expel or eliminate that which is causing the blockage or the problem inside. Now we will call that sickness, and we will try and take medications and drugs to suppress that action happening. What we do with nutrients then, specifically we're talking minerals, vitamins, and other kind of units of energy. Not exactly the same as when the body is burning materials to generate energy, but a nutrient is a very, very fundamental unit of energy. So when we talk about quantum nutrients or nutrients acting on a quantum level, we're talking about what we eat and ingest, specifically to the diet, because there are many forms of nutrients. It's not just food. If we're talking about units of energy that correlate to our growth and the intelligence of the body. And that's a good point, because nutrients act in cohesion with the body's communication and intelligence system that is built in from the embryo, yeah, from preconception even. So there's a very, very dynamic communication intelligence system operating through all of the body, yeah, and its functions are infinite, numerous. So when we eat anything that is good for us, a nutrient, a natural nutrient, it is wholesome. In other words, it acts on our physical body. It will give us a physical nutrient. You know, you'll be able to track the iron being absorbed and being carried into certain cells where it's needed and whatnot. Yeah. It also acts on the mental. So if you are eating a good, clean diet, you know, it's no denying you start thinking clean. You start being more aware and in control of your thoughts instead of being overrun. Your thoughts start to gather a lot more clarity. They start to piece together rather than being a jumbled chaos. This is the kind of mental realm. Because what is happening is if you're eating correctly, the nutrients you are eating, they are having a detoxing effect. It's another quality of nutrients because they are all healing. They are wholesome. They're not just giving you energy and giving you physical capacity. They are also acting on an intellectual level, on an intelligent level. So they are assisting the detoxification systems of the body to detox. So if you are eating real nutrients, and we'll get to what these real nutrients are and what they are not. If you are eating real nutrients, these are going to be very hydrating foods or foods that can initiate energy for the certain detoxifying systems and organs, i.e. the liver, i.e. the kidneys, the eliminative organs, the lymphatic system, the digestive system. Key fundamental portals in the body. If these are not working, nothing is working. Nutrients, they act on that level. They will provide the energy, the intelligence, the support to the body to wake up, to vitalize these key components of the body to do their correct job. So if you're eating correct nutrients, quantum nutrients is acting on many different levels simultaneously because we are a being. We act on many different levels simultaneously. We've got many different bodies to make up a being. We've got mental bodies, emotional bodies, spiritual bodies, physical bodies, your mental body, all in synchronicity, all acting in a synergistic way. Yeah. This is a blueprint to life. This is actual living organisms. All living organisms do this. So if we shift now to what is a quantum nutrient, what kind of food in your diet can deliver this sort of capacity, this sort of energy to affect you on every single level that it needs affecting? And it does. It's very simple. Real diet and foods do this. Those foods are fruits. Those foods are herbs. Those foods are like naturally occurring vegetation. The leaves, the tender leaves, the berries, the vegetables, nuts, even what is made and produced by some of the animal kingdom, like the bees, like the honeys and the nectars. Yeah. It's all very powerful medicine. Let your food be your medicine be your food. Very powerful medicine. And what we mean by medicine, because I don't think nature really knows anything about healing, really. Nature only knows balance. It only knows universal principle. It ain't getting into the kind of social engineering of education and what things are. It ain't interested in none of that. That's what man's doing. And we get very confused. Nature's very simple. Balance, homeostasis. Balance doesn't always mean equality either. So all these people fighting for equality out here, we're disturbing balance because not everything... Being equality does not equate to harmony, but that's a different discussion anyway. Balance is what is required by anything that is a natural occurring organism, and everything affects everything else. So we as humans, as you being like, we can see you as a single-celled organism, even though you got hundreds of trillions of different cells, but in the body of humanity, you are a single unit. Now, just like the cell within your body, any one solo individual cell, you will be affecting the immediate environment around you, which might be in the liver. You might be a liver cell, you might be a heart cell, you might be a brain cell. You are contributing to your immediate environment, but you also are emitting and projecting an energetic field that is connecting and is part of the whole communication system of every single cell in the body. So if you are a liver organ, you are working independently, but also interdependently, because the liver works on its own. It has its job, it has its roles, it has its functions, but it is working as part of a body that has multiple organs. And if one of them is off, everything is imbalanced. So they are all interrelated. Just like you as a single celled, as a single unit of human being. What you do, how the health that you are operating at will affect your immediate environment, your internal environment and your immediate environment. It will affect the way you can function as a being. Yeah, and the way you function as a being affects the people around you, the other beings around you, whether they're cats, dogs, bees, plants, humans. Yeah. You are also projecting an energetic field, an electromagnetic field, light, yeah, an aura. Now this aura, this is what makes you more attractive or makes you more repelling to other people, yeah? So when this aura is rich, healthy and concentrated in harmony, this aura is propelling, and now you will, your life experience will follow that. So you will be doing things that are more effective, more balancing and harmonious for the good of all humanity. Get the idea out of your head that any one person can save the world. No, there's never been a true superhero or mythological character that has ever done that, has ever affected every human on the planet. Do you see what I'm saying? Your role and your job is to bring balance to your reality, to your sphere. Now, when we grow as human beings, we can extend and expand our spheres of reach. Yeah. But that will ultimately affect what is going on in the whole universal grid, the vibration which the collective grid is operating at. So in that way, you will affect all, but you won't practically do it on your own, like in a physical, practical sense. Like, you ain't going to shine up to bloody cancer research with that bloody spoof as what it is, and hope to change the world fighting cancer. Do you see what I'm saying? People have got diabetes and bloody all these other made up diseases and whatnot as well. So you're never gonna be as effective. You're always gonna want to do more. You can do everything you can, just operating from your single celled unit, operating in your immediate environment. What makes a quantum nutrient, like from an apple or a mango or a raspberry or a piece of ginseng or a piece of ginger or a piece of dandelion or burdock or a pumpkin or some cauliflower or some spinach leaf? How do they operate as such? And this is how we determine, quite simply, what is a good wholesome nutrient and what is the opposite, basically. And if it is the opposite, it's going to have the opposite effect. Quite simply, yeah. The way we determine it is like what Dr. Sabi would call electric foods, yeah. What Professor Arnold Ehret would call mucusless foods, same thing, yeah. Or non-acidic foods, as Robert Morse would say. Light foods. What is the blueprint? What is the common denominator? It's the sun. Yeah. If we're dealing with solar energy, we're dealing with light beings, we're dealing with light worlds. Yeah. We're dealing with solar power, we're dealing with the solar system. Yeah. If it is grown in a naturally occurring way by the sun, you can bet your soul, yeah, you can bet the whole of your soul power that contains that full spectrum, because the sun emits full spectrum light. Yeah, full spectrum. This light, we can say, and say the seven spectrum on the seven lights on the spectrum, the 7 different shades. There's more than that, but we'll just go with that, and we can say, oh, might they correlate to the 7 different lights, portals within energy centers, chakras? Why not? Of course. because they're all responsible for a different energetic field within you. Yeah. When you have light, and don't forget, light is synonymous as a word with information, wisdom, knowledge, kind of spiritual maturity, enlightenment. Yeah, it's also synonymous with less weight, detox, hello, losing baggage, whether that's emotional, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, fat. Yeah. The light from God transmits its rays, its potential, its frequency into the earth. So now we're dealing with the elements. So that's the first thing you're going to look to, the light, the fire. Yeah. The second is the water. It must be grown by water naturally occurring. So anything that's growing out of the ground or off a tree, off a bush, or in the sea is using water. Even the plants in the sea that grow deep under the water. Remember what we talked about in the water discussion. Water is a crystal. It refracts the light. So as that sun is hitting, that's why you see the crystals on the surface of the water. Like, wow. They're going to convince you, oh yeah, it's just the way light's reacting, and you ain't really seen it. Yeah, you've really seen it. Quit the bullshit. But what we know scientifically with the molecular structure of water, that light will hit and then refract the light and send it through the sea, and that's just waves and ripples. That's why you can go deep into the dark abyss of the sea and see the most electrical light fish that will just glow up in light and can do some super sci-fi stuff that, not even the movies can have the imagination to deliver. So water is the next key. Air, it has to breathe. The source of this food has to breathe, whether it's a plant or a tree. We talked about the symbiotic relationship that we have with nature and the trees in the breath discussion. We breathe in oxygen from the trees. We breathe out carbon dioxide. They will breathe that in. They will do their thing with it. This is harmony. Yeah. It has to breathe. It has to have that. When we're talking about the diet, it's going to contain, when we're talking about feeding the physical body, it's going to contain that earth element, which is just the ma'ata. It's ma'at. This is truth and balance. This is material. We're dealing with material. We're dealing with the soils. We're dealing with the fibers. Yeah, we're dealing with the tissues. It's going to contain that, so it's going to be feeding off the minerals in the earth. The earth is the sphere of the material, yeah, on this plane. So as you can see, a real quantum nutrient that is good for you will have been grown by all of the elements. You see, not forgetting the moon. The moon even has its effect. Yeah, it's getting as much moon as it is sun. Yeah, and we know that the moon has a profound effect upon the waters. Yeah, we know we can charge crystals in the moon. We know we can get out in the full moon and feel like, yeah. You want your food to have had this same symbiotic experience in its growth pattern. Now, that is going to affect you when you come and consume. You are what you eat. So when you are eating elemental forces, you become an elemental force. Human being, you become aware of your waters, your chemistry is clean up. You become aware of your spiritual self, your light being. Your aura will start to glow. Your body will start to bring itself into balance, i.e. healing, i.e. start detoxing the waste or the fat. Start, getting rid of these cancerous cells that are living inside of us. The antioxidants from the nutrients will start gobbling up all those free radicals that are running rogue in the body, causing other problems. You'll start to detox the metals from the brain that are causing a hindrance and slowing down our cognitive function. You'll start to invigorate your lymphatic system, which carries all the intracellular waste away from the body. We've got 100 trillion cells, give or take a few trillion. Yeah, that's a lot of waste from each cell, because each cell is functioning if you are growing. If you are growing in the right way. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. What is not a quantum nutrient? If it hasn't been grown in a naturally occurring way, if it's been processed, yeah, if it's been genetically modified, and don't forget we're eating these foods, and these foods are communicating with the cells of our body, with our genes. They are allowing us access. to our genetical blueprints, our genetical information, our genetical memory. So if they are genetically modifying the foods, and then we are eating this genetically modified food, what do you think it is doing to our genes internally, modifying? Is that too far-fetched to even suggest? And look at when we've got a whole planet, society, Western kind of ideology that they subscribe to destroying the planet, pillaging natural resource, chemtrailing up the skies, poisoning us with vaccinations and medications. Yeah, there's something going on. So now we're not even allowed to suppose that these genetically modified could be modifying our genes genetically, and all of a sudden everyone's kind of going a bit backwards and confused, and we've got all this kind of trans business happening, and all this ill mental health, and all this atrocious disease at high rates in the young. Look what's happened in the last 50 years since all of this processed kind of wave has really took flight. All these crazy drinks that we're drinking. I'm not saying don't ever do it, but be aware of it first and conscious, and then you will naturally start to harmonize and make better choices with the way you're doing it. So the non-nutrients, or the non-quantum nutrients, the non-wholesome nutrients that are in line with the naturally occurring growth mechanism of the body and the spirit and the mind, are those that are manufactured. Man has factored it together. Yeah, if man's factored it together, you won't need it. They can convince you, oh, this for that and that for this and da-da-da-da-da. No, you go as close to raw, natural as possible. Try and avoid the labels like vegan and vegetarian. Use it when it helps to save the, for communication purposes, if you just don't want, the steak or whatever. But, don't fool yourself. You just stick to a natural, just be a sensible eater. Just have a sensible diet according to the knowledge you have. Yeah, you're trying to clean up, you're trying to raise that chi, you're trying to get on top, you're trying to manifest. Yeah, you're trying to work your powers, you're trying to Black Panther it out. Yeah, then just put down the pastries and the bagels and the rice so much, and just these things that don't have, what they've manipulated. I mentioned the rice. Probably what's wrong with rice? It's just been completely manipulated. Yeah, if you're gonna go grains, go for a more kind of substantial grain like the quinoa or even kus. They're not very high energetic foods, plus you have to cook them, but they're not gonna tax and deplete your body of as much energy as others, and they will offer protein to certain levels and amino acid kind of chains. Useful. I've got some on the thing right now because we do need I need warm food in this climate, in this environment. Spring and summer, it's a beautiful time to really dive in and really take advantage of the fruits and really go raw for a bit. But in the winter and the autumn, it's cold out here, man. Yeah. So yeah, it's just that, man. Basically, if it hasn't been grown by the sun and the moon, yeah, it's like they've taken the parents away from the child, from the fruits. Yeah, they bastardize the food. You bastards. Yeah, that's what game they're into on so many levels. This ain't just food that they're doing this with. They've took our parents away. We might have our parents here, our immediate parents, but we've got greater parents, we've got grander parents than this. Our grandparents are the forces of nature. They are the nurturers. So that means the food we're eating, if it's not grown by the sun or the moon and it's done in some lab with all chemicals and caking agents and preservatives and pesticides and all of this crap, yeah, and it ain't had mom and dad's input, that is a rogue child that wants to get in your body and will run rogue, will just cause havoc. You will be sick repeatedly, and you will call this normal. Don't allow them to take away the parents from the food, yeah, because that is gonna basically determine, like we say, the level of reality you experience and your power that you can harness and channel to affect and impact in whatever way you're supposed to do it here. That's not for anyone to say, it's just for you to know as an individual. You see what I'm saying? So just consider that, yeah, when we're dealing with food, does it contain the nutrient source that is right for you at the subatomic level, at the etheric level? And you best believe natural foods do. We can go in, we can have hours of discussions, weeks of discussions, we can pull out all the books, but we don't even need all that. Just use your conscious mind. Of course, it's a phenomenon. Of course, the food, the apple, operates on some intellectual, divine, magnificent level. It's not just giving you great fiber for the gut flora. It's not just cleaning out your digestive system. It's not just giving you loads of antioxidants. It's not just hydrating your cells. It's got many different layers to it. It's got the Venus. You open up an apple, you can see the Venus precession. The same route that Venus takes around, you can see in the apple. You can see the star, the pointed star, introverted, and it's in there, but with the feminine curves. It's showing you it's a universal fruit. It's always it's always all of it. So that's what we're talking about, man. And you really want to feel these effects in your life happening. Switch your diet up that way. Just make the changes, whatever appropriate changes are necessary. Just make it. Start small, make a big difference. Yeah. Just incorporate more fruits, more hydrating, more juicy foods, more juicy salads into your life, and just eat a little bit less of whatever else it is. Yeah, and just keep trying to bring balance. And right now, this time is the perfect time to amplify that, because we're in the spring equinox. We're living it, breathing it this second. So now the scale will tilt whichever way you intend it to, but it's gonna tilt. So you can take this opportunity in this time right now to be more fruitful, reflect all nature, what's happening, all the buds on the trees and the fruits are starting to grow and the leaves are coming out, and you're gonna see the bees, and you're already seeing spiders and all of this. Life is happening again. So you want to make your life as fruitful as possible. This is a lot of creative energy that is happening right now on the surface of the earth. So you want to be a part of that. These other foods, these manufactured, artificial, processed, you are what you eat. So you will become more artificial, processed and manufactured in your being, in your thinking, in your ability to kind of break down the reality and know what the hell is really going on here, or what the heaven is really going on here. Yeah. And if you want to engage with the natural vibration, and it's a great time to be present right now. It's an amazing time to be present right now. Regardless of all the trump cards that are going on, they're running scared. They are petrified. It's wake up time, or just kind of just that clear vision time. Open up. We're talking about the spiritual vision, the kind of mind's eye, however you want to see it, but just open it up. It's a great time to be present, and the food is a great reinforcement for that, as is the breath, as is the water, as is the yoga, as is the meditations, yeah, as is the exercise, as is the kind of commune that you have with the people around you, the way you think, the thought patterns. It's all great. But when you strengthen one, it will automatically reinforce the other. You strengthen the liver, everything gets strengthened and reinforced. You strengthen the kidneys, everything. It's a blueprint. Yeah, it's out here. It's real. Tap in. So yeah, man, that's qualitative and quantum and wholesome nutrients. That was the kind of main discussion that we had in the session. Any questions? Just get at me, I don't mind. I'll try and answer this the best of my ability using the kind of spiritual logic, and conscious logic. Yeah, it's all good, but one love, fam.